Hi everyone, welcome to another Ready to Ride Pilates for Horse Riders session, where today we are going to be working on your whole body. Sometimes it's really good just to run through the basics with absolutely everything and not focus too much on the specifics. That way we don't leave any bits out. It's all going to be in standing for this session, so no equipment is needed, just something soft and comfortable to be standing on. So let's get started. Make sure you're warmed up properly before you do this, but we'll run through a couple of little things just to loosen you off before we really get going. So I'd like you to start, make sure your spine is lengthened and elastic, and make sure you're breathing into the base of your lungs. And then we're going to do some shoulder rolls, so opening out through your shoulders, up, back and down. This is really useful if you're somebody that gets tense, particularly if you do a lot of driving, you've got an office job, or to be honest, anything that makes you a bit tense before you ride. This is so good to do, but it's also really good at the start of any form of exercise to make sure you're not holding any unwanted tension before you start exercising. So nice big rolls. Okay, I'm going to go sideways, you don't need to. We're going to do your bow and arrow. So I'd like you to stand in the lunge position, one foot in front of the other, hands up in front. Before you start, check that your headlights are facing the front. Then you take one hand to your shoulder, turn back and follow through with your head, and then face the front. We'll repeat the other way. So hand back, turn and follow through. So you're now alternating between the sides that you're turning to, always keeping your headlights to the front and trying as much as possible to keep that equal weight through both of your feet. So we're trying to work here on improving the mobility through your spine, not cheating and using your pelvis and lower body to do the movement for you. Swap your feet over so we go the other way. So once again, hands up in front, check your headlights are forwards, then it's hand back, turn and follow through. The chances are you may well find that one way is easier to do than the other. That's really normal, so don't worry if that is the case. It might be that you are more mobile one way, it might be that you find it easier to keep your balance and keep anchored over your pelvis and legs one way. It doesn't matter what the reason is, just it's a good opportunity to really work on things. Last one. Okay, then we're going to just get your legs on the move a little bit, so we're going to do some lunges. I suggest having your hands onto your headlights, gives you somewhere to put them. Also, it means you've got some feedback about what your headlights are up to. So you're going to go forwards and come back up, then with the other leg forwards and come back up. As you're going, you're keeping your shoulders over your headlights and headlights going to the front. If you can, try to keep your knee lined up with your second and third toes. If you dropped a plumb line down, it'd be hip, knee, foot that way, and then we know we've got nice alignment down through the whole leg and you're working your muscles really well. Then see if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can go down into a bit of a dip. You don't have to do that at all, but if you're going to go down to the dip, then make sure that you can still maintain that nice shoulder over headlight position, headlights to the front, and again, as much as possible, try to make sure that you maintain that hip, knee, second, third toe position, and that you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're looking for basic symmetry. Okay, so this isn't reflective of the leg position in the saddle, but if you haven't got basic symmetry to start off with, you're not going to be able to have symmetry in the saddle either. One more with each leg. Good job. Okay, little walk on the spot. We're going to move on to your clam exercise. Again, keep your hands onto your headlights. Gives you that nice feedback, anchors your upper body as well. Once again, before you start, check that your shoulders are over your headlights. Make sure you're breathing into the base of your lungs, and your pelvic floor is now up onto your floor 3. And we're going to do your clam. So you're turning out from the hip using your glutes. You're working glutes on both legs. Leg you're standing on, those glutes are holding you up. The leg that's moving, the glutes are doing the movement. If you want to make it harder, add in the extension. So it's open, straighten, bend and close. Open, straighten, bend and close. But only do that if you feel really happy and confident that you can do the basic version, keeping a balance and keeping headlights to the front. Do one more. Good job. Okay, foot down, and we'll swap and do exactly the same thing on the other side. So again, before you start, check your posture. Shoulders over headlights, headlights front, pelvic floor onto floor 3. Once again, opening and closing. Take that knee out as far as you can, comfortably, whilst keeping your headlights to the front. So work the glutes on the leg that you are moving as much as you can through your available range. You want to have them as strong as possible through as big a range as possible, then they will be of maximum use to you. If you only work them in a small range, that's where they're going to help. Keep checking that breathing is staying regular. Make sure the pelvic floor is still onto floor 3. Couple more. Good job. Okay, foot on the spot, and let's have a little walk on the spot again. Just loosen off. Glutes been working quite hard. We're going to move on to your foot series. So this is a good coordination exercise. It's also really good for your balance. So feet approximately underneath your hips. Doesn't have to be particularly specific. Shoulders over headlights. Pelvic floor onto floor 3. Then up onto your toes. Bend your knees. Drop your heels and straighten. Onto your toes. Bend your knees. Drop your heels. Straighten. Onto your toes. Bend your knees. Drop your heels, straighten. Onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten. One more. Onto your toes, bend your knees, drop your heels, straighten. Now we're going to reverse it. So you're going to bend, lift the heels, straighten the knees and down. So it's bend, lift, straighten, down. Bend, lift, straighten, down. You may well find that this one is easier than the other way. I think it's something to do with how we're using our calf muscles. Doing it this way around that makes it a bit easier. But most people find it easier this way. It's partly the balance, it's partly the coordination. Do 2 more this way. Good job. Okay, then we're going to go back onto one leg. Again, get your balance before you start. Now you're going to bring your arms up into this position here. Okay, you can have them if you want to have them as if you were holding onto reins. I have them like this because it makes me feel a little bit more focused on imagining I'm holding something, which is quite useful for what we're going to do next. Shoulders back and down and open, headlights to the front. Keep your elbows glued into your side, and then you're going to turn your upper body from side to side. Now you should feel that your elbows gently slide around your middle as you go. And what you want to make sure is all this movement is through your spine and your upper body. Keep your shoulder blades back and down, and watch that your hands are staying level. If you want to do this actually holding on to something, by all means do. What we're trying to achieve here is that feeling that whatever your upper body does, whatever your lower body does, when you're in the saddle, your hands stay completely level and completely still. Okay, I'm going to swap and do the same thing on the other leg. Okay, so again, before you start, shoulders back and down and open, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and with your hands staying level, you're going to turn from side to side, keeping those elbows sliding round once again. So all that movement is through your upper body, you're not twisting, and your pelvis joining in. Keep your hands level. You want that feeling that they are just gently staying in position, lightly there, just like you want your contact to be when you're in the saddle. Okay, then we're going to go back onto the first leg again. Get your balance as I fall over. Again, shoulder blades back and down. If you find that you're getting tired or your balance isn't great, you can do this with both feet on the floor. It's absolutely fine. Then you're going to take your arms out and back in. Once again, to start off with, you're keeping your elbows tucked into your sides. What you need to factor in now is not just keeping your shoulder blades back and down, but think about your ribs being gently anchored down towards your pelvis, because we're now going to add in the arm movement up to the side. So in Pilates terms, this is called the Cleopatra. And you really want to make sure that the movement is purely coming from your shoulders. If I go sideways, if you start to join in through your body, you'll start to have this movement, and that's where having that anchored feeling through your ribs, just gently sinking them downwards, helps your body to stay still while your arms do the work. We'll do one more. Okay, I'm going to change and do the same thing on the other side. So exactly the same principles. Shoulders are level, open, back and down, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and keep those ribs gently sinking down towards your pelvis. Elbows are tucked in at the moment. And then we're going to add in that opening up into your Cleopatra. That's good. Keep those ribs gently down. So like I demonstrated on the last side, your body isn't moving, it's just your arms. Think about when you're on the horse, you don't want, every time your arms move, and hopefully they're not coming out into this position too often, but every time your arms move that your body has to join in, you want your arms to be independent. We talk about independent seat, but you want an independent contact too. Do one more of this one. Good job. Okay, then both feet onto the floor. And then we'll finish off with a nice little stretch just to open everything out. So hands together, turn your hands over and push away for a good big stretch. And then up above your head for a nice big stretch. And then bring your hands back down. So again, forwards and away, nice stretch around the back. And then a good big stretch up to the top. And down, we'll do one more just like that. So forwards and away. And then up. And then bring your arms back down by your side. Okay, we're going to finish there for this session. If you want to add in any more, scroll through the channel, see what things work out for you. Don't forget there is a cool down session as well if you just want to finish off with something nice and simple. Thank you so much for joining. Hope this has been a useful revision of a few key points. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you again very soon.